Welcome to StartUpHealth TV, where we celebrate the entrepreneurs and innovators who are transforming health. I'm Logan Plaster with my guest here, Lee Shapiro, managing partner at 7wireVentures. Lee, thank you for joining me today.
Logan, thanks so much for having me, and always great when I have a chance to chat with you at these events.
Yeah, well, it is a privilege to get to talk to you because you have a vantage point on this market that not a lot of people do. And so I just want to start by saying kind of where's your head at coming into this meeting and looking at the health tech market, downs, ups, kind of where do you feel like we're at right now?
Well, so I'd be remiss if I didn't start off by saying that I got here, ran into meetings, all the energy that comes from being at a conference like this, and it's wonderful getting a chance to see people that, in person after so long when these events weren't happening, like HLTH last year and now this. But then the news of the school shooting here in Nashville, I think brought so many of us back to reality. And one of the things that we're not talking about as an industry is the way in which we really need to focus much more on mental health. And there's a lot of great work being done by many companies on the floor in this area. But also, what role do we have as a technology industry to play in terms of helping to address some of these issues? And there are so many smart people that are here. I think if we put some of that energy towards saying, what can we be doing to address some of the challenges that we have with school shootings in this country, we'd probably be able to make a difference. So It's a challenge. Maybe one of those things that we can think about for another moonshot.
Yeah. I mean, are there strategies being employed in mental health in terms of telemental health or virtual care that particularly excites you, that you're seeing?
Well, I love the fact that we're making it more accessible. And certainly all the statistics that we've seen around telehealth visits is that the predominant use has been for mental health. So we're making it more available, more affordable, and more impactful for individuals who need it. We have a great company in our portfolio that just announced a recent fundraise, NOCD, that focuses on people with severe mental illness. And getting them diagnosed more quickly and getting them access to treatment is something that's making a huge difference in improving people's lives. And I'm encouraged by the fact that not only are there companies that are approaching this with the use of kind of this virtual component, but also tying together kind of the virtual and the physical and referring people in for treatment who might need it. And that's another way in which we can help people manage some of the challenges they're facing.
How are you guiding your firm through this next season as you just look at the financial crisis as it is, or just the financial situation that we're dealing with? How are you talking to your team and the folks that you've invested in?
We started having a dialogue with our portfolio companies in 2021 about the need for them to be thinking about cash conservation, raising money, thinking about kind of a long-term 24-month plan. Mm-hmm. We may have undershot the mark there a little bit because here we thought, get through 2022, get through 2023, but now it's also probably 2024 into 2025. And the companies that we work with have all had kind of their little bit of a scare based on what the circumstances were, whether they banked with SVB or not, honestly,
Sure.
Because you have to recognize that what SVB stood for was emblematic of our industry as a whole. They were the banker for early stage companies. They were willing to take risk.
Yeah.
And so the question becomes, who will step in now and be able to act with these companies and give support at a stage when maybe they're not profitable yet, and they need access to capital. They need banking services for companies that may not have the traditional framework of a large Fortune 500 company. So I'm encouraged by the fact that the communities rallied together, that we were able to quickly transition the assets of SVB with a government guarantee, and many of the good people who work there are going to be now with either First Citizens or other institutions that hopefully will provide that type of support.
Yeah. I mean, besides telling your portfolio to sort of be cash responsible over the next couple of years, what other strategies are you encouraging them to employ just to thrive in the face of conflict, you know?
Well, we've seen this transition in the market, and it occurs from time to time. The pendulum swings. We were very much focused in 2019 and 2020 on growth, and now it's about profitability. And we've been helping them to appreciate what they need to do in terms of being able to demonstrate, if they're not already profitable, what's that path to profitability. And what they have to be able to do is to focus. Many times early stage companies are like what I experienced coaching my kids in soccer. All the kids run to wherever the ball is. And if there's more than one ball in the field, then you're chasing a lot of balls at the same time. And I think that you have to find ways to be able to focus right now, make sure you have good product market fit, are able to demonstrate value to your customers, and to be able to show that path to profitability, and to do that in a way that's convincing to your investors by actually doing it.
Yeah.
And so that's part of what we're working with them on.
Got it. So you've got portfolio companies that have worked with you to raise funds, and they're in a privileged position with that. We work with a lot of companies that are maybe in a dicier position, who are maybe thinking of raising funds in the next few months, or are in that crucible moment. And I wonder if you have any advice for, there's hundreds and hundreds of startups who need to raise now. What are your thoughts about that?
We invest in seed and Series A companies, and we're fortunate to have a great partnership with StartUpHealth in terms of being able to work with great companies. You can raise money in any market. You might not like the terms at a given point in time, but you can raise money in any market. And capital is tighter, and so you might have to work a little harder. It might take a little bit longer to do that. But what I would encourage early stage companies to do is to be persistent, to think about some non-traditional sources of capital, which may come from strategic partners as opposed to from a venture firm or from a financial institution. And many of the companies that I know that are in the StartUpHealth ecosystem are serving some great communities where there might be opportunities to reach out to those who are being serviced and to say, we're going to help make a change. Why don't you be part of that and invest alongside of us? So as an example, we have companies that are working with health systems or health plans that are trying to kind of change some of their behaviors, but they're getting capital from them, or who have strategic partners on the distribution side that are also willing to make investments into the future of those companies. And we'll see more of those interesting collaborations as we go forward.
Yeah. To paraphrase a saying, some people say, don't let a good crisis go to waste. And I wonder what your thoughts are in terms of talking to a founder and saying, look, learn the lessons of this moment and actually come out stronger. Whether it's a silver lining in what's going on, or whether it's just learning during challenging times. What would you hope a founder would take away from this moment?
I think founders should learn that the way in which they operate has to be with a mindset towards who are they serving. Oftentimes, many companies are focused on bringing that dream to the market and bringing that product to market, and not necessarily recognizing how it will fit into the workflow of a provider or the life flow of a consumer. And just because you can build something doesn't necessarily mean that it's a sustainable company. Many companies that you've met here and that we've also met with have some great offerings, but they may not be sustainable as a standalone company. And so that means that the founders should start to think about what's the right home for this offering longer term. And it may mean that they are building something with someone else, but not necessarily independently.
And that can be a good thing. So, an underlying theme I'm hearing from that is like the humility to recognize, like, what am I really building and who is it really helping?
Exactly.
Yeah. Lee, thank you so much for taking time with me. Your leadership in the market is really meaningful, and I appreciate hearing just where your heart is in this right now. So thanks, Lee.
Well, Logan, thank you and the StartUpHealth ecosystem for all you do.
All right. Thanks.